Hi, this is Carolyn James from Holistic Campus, and today I'm talking with Nicole Dolan, who's a founding practitioner, and she's a spiritual counselor as well. Nicole, welcome.
Hi, Carolyn.
How
Thank
are
you.
you?
I'm good.
Good. So I'm very excited to talk to you about this, and I'm really psyched that you're part of Holistic Campus just because of what it is you bring to the plate. Can you talk a little bit about how what you do, how it works?
Yeah, so I am currently, my background is in psychotherapy. So I won't be working on this site as a psychotherapist. I'll be working as a spiritual counselor. And that's where my work has kind of evolved into. But my background is as a psychotherapist. And so I have a master's and a PhD. Well, I'm in the process of finishing a PhD in counseling psychotherapy. So basically, I'm working with people of all walks of life. I work with people who want to find their soulmate. I work with people who want to discover who it is that they truly are. I work a ton with people who have been through trauma. I think most of us have experienced some kind of trauma in our lives, but I certainly work with people on the post-trauma aspect of life where, you know what, you've been through a lot. There's things that are still affecting you, and we can work through those so that you can get to being where it is you want to be, which is usually helping people find their path in life.
So as far as the psychotherapist, we all understand that, but how did spirituality come into this for you?
So probably more so on a personal level. So I got into the field mainly, as many of us do, through my own challenges, my own traumas in life. And then along the way, when I was about finished with all of the education, and it was just kind of like, I got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm done. Now I've got all my hours. Now I've got all my everything. And then, you know, spirit was like, no, actually you have this other work to do now. And my life kind of fell apart, as at least as to what I knew it to be. And I have a favorite quote. It's by Joseph Campbell, and it says, we must be willing to let go of the life that we have planned so as to have the life that's meant for us.
Oh.
And I've lived the reality of that. And that's where my spirituality really, really opened up. I had my own eat, pray, love journey, if you will. I found myself in Rome with the Pope on Easter, and I found myself in Thailand in July, I think. I mean, I traveled, I learned some different things from different cultures, and part of that became a real interest in different people's religions. It's also something too that grounds me as a therapist, because a question that's often been asked to me by people is, how can you do that? How can you just sit there and listen to people's problems all day? Like, how doesn't that affect you? And it's always kind of talked about in a really negative way. And the truth is, no, I think that we all have a story, and I'm fascinated by our stories. And the spiritual aspect that I really hold a framework of is, it's our own challenges, which actually, our own wounds, which actually is the place where our true self begins, if you will. It may take years and years and years before we ever see that, or hopefully we do enough inner work in this lifetime to see that. But when we do, we realize that the challenges and things that we've been going through have led us to exactly where it is that we're supposed to be.
Exactly. Someone said to me once that you're truly evolved, or you truly understand who you are when you thank all of those miseries that come, and thank you for my lesson and moving on. And like what you said about, okay, my life fell apart. I went through the same thing. Best thing that ever could have happened, though.
Best thing that ever happened to me. Yes. Yeah. And I hold people in that. I have clients that, you know, it might be a year, it might be 2 years before they actually really say thank you. But when they do, it is, life changes, and it's amazing, as you know.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, do you find it, so you shared with me a little bit that spirituality just kind of started to creep into your therapy.
Mhm.
And, you know, I'm sure you were like, well, wait, what do I do? How do I do this? How do I go about this? And
Yeah.
now here we are, and you're just going for it. So kudos on that.
Thanks.
You a little nervous about it?
You know what? A tiny bit, but I'm excited because it's something that is in my work already. And it's funny because I often talk about it and I say, well, I don't really tell my clients that, but it's like, well, I do, and my clients know that about me, and I seem to also, as you would imagine, attract people who are open to that. So it's not. So it's something that like I'm already doing, but here I feel like this is going to be an opportunity where I can just be really open about that, you know, like it's not going to be so weird when I say, well, I have no idea why, but this is the word that's coming to me, or whatever. And often that leads us exactly where we need to go. So I trust that.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
always leads you where there are no accidents. So I know you and I are going to do a little bit of work together, which is great. But before that, is there anything else you wanted to share?
Let's see. I think that's probably a good introduction. We did talk about a little bit about speaking about what it is that I work with specifically, and I don't want to say that there's anything necessarily specific because I can work with all kinds of things. Many of our life challenges, even if it's not like the same exact challenge that somebody's going through, actually has the same emotional effect as other challenges. So for instance, when you're grieving about something, you may not have lost a person in your life, but you may realize that through, say, a trauma that you've experienced, there is a loss of your own life that you've missed out on while you haven't been awake or aware. So many of our challenges, it doesn't have to be specific that somebody brings something to me and I'm like, oh, this is how I know how to work with this. But that said, we do have some things listed in my profile and things that we talked about. I work a lot with people who are in transitional times of their lives, whether they've hit a wall and they're like, I don't know, I just got to make a change, or they've hit a wall and life, like we talked about, has turned them upside down and they need a lot of help to make that change. Or, you know, a lot of women right now, there's a feminine rising in our collective unconscious, and it's becoming more conscious if we pay attention to it. So a lot of women are coming out, working through narcissistic abuse, or just even, maybe not to use the word abuse, but just being surrounded by or choosing partners which may no longer serve them. Yeah, I think that's probably a good bit of what I'm working with at this point.
Great. Okay, my dear, we'll talk in a minute. Thank you so much.
Okay, sounds good.